If your open chords sound like this, and you want them to sound like this, here are two super easy fixes. For this example, we're going to be using an E major, but you can use these tips for any open chord. So tip number one, and the reason why you're probably here, is because you want to be able to hear every single string individually. And 99% of the time is not because you're not strong enough to do it, but rather your fingers are laying too flat. If my fingers are laying flat, then I'm going to be muting the other strings as I go across them with the pick, and it's going to sound like this. And obviously that's not what we want. So what you're going to want to do is curl your fingers and play on the tips of your fingers. It should look something like this. And something that helped me visualize this when I was first trying to learn open chords is to imagine that my fingers are feet. And if this is having my foot flat on the ground, this is going up on my tippy toes, just like this. And when you're playing, you want to try to not let each of your fingers touch the other strings. You want to try and be up on the tips of your fingers or tips of your toes to the best of your ability. Imagine that your fingertips are just like ballerinas wearing toe shoes. You want to be right up on the tip of your fingers. And just to give you an idea of how on the tip of your fingers you should be, the indents on your fingers should look like this, right underneath the nails. And I'm also going to give you an example of what the indents will look like if you're doing it incorrectly. If the indents themselves are much further away from the nail, then your fingers are way too flat, and that's why you're not getting the ringing sound that you're looking for. So that's going to be step number one. And step number two is to ensure that your fingers are actually close to the fret wire and not way back in the fret. If your fingers are way back like this, you're going to get a horrible buzzing sound whenever you play your open chords. And it's going to sound something like this. And of course, that's not very pleasant, and that's not what we want. So instead, you want to try and slide your fingers to the front of the frets. And just for some more clarity, this would be the back of the second fret, and this would be the front of the second fret. So if we take the improper technique, which sounds like this, and instead go up on the tips of our fingers and also move to the front of the fret, it should sound like this. For example, if we take an A and it looks like this, instead, if we go up on the tips of our fingers, it should sound like this. If our D looks and sounds like this, instead, we want to go up on the tips of our fingers and play like this. And just for one final example, here's what a C should not look like. And here's what it should look like. Nice and close to the front of each fret and right up on the tips of my fingers. Hopefully this helped you clean up your open chords.